Welcome back to CMT Showcase, featuring Artist of the Month, Patty Loveless. At a young age, Patty was beginning to express her deeply felt emotions and thoughts through songwriting. But foremost at the time, she and her brother Roger began performing together whenever they could. They loved it and soon became known as the Singin' Swingin' Ramies.
We really didn't come up with that name. It's a DJ by the name of Danny King with a country radio station there. Gave us that name, and he was kind of a supporter of the Ramey kids, and really tried to get their name around town. And whenever there was something happening, he would call us up and say, "This jamboree is opening, and I'd love to try to get you on that." There was always a lot of people in the city of Louisville that, when they heard you and knew of you, and they knew of something else that was going on, a place to entertain, you know, call those Ramey kids up. They're really great. And that was a real honor.
This was a time when the famous Grand Ole Opry took to the road with the Opry stars traveling and performing together. 5 acts per show. It was fun and playful and exciting.
Yeah, you would go out like for 10, 15 days on those long tours covering the country and major cities in America, and always good crowds, and the old traditional country music flowing, and everybody watching one another at night and enjoying what they did, and watching each other's act and so forth, and it was a lot of fun.
It was during one of those 5-act shows when the Opry was in Louisville that Patty and Roger Ramey got to experience a moment neither would forget.
That particular night, they had Bill Anderson, Connie Smith, the Wilburn Brothers. There was one other act, and then Jean Shepherd. Jean Shepherd was caught in a flood, and she wasn't able to make it in. So Danny King, our big DJ buddy, gives the Ramey kids a call and says, could you kids just come and do about 10 or 15 minutes opening for these people? Why not? Love to. And Roger and I went and we did songs together. Of course, you know, what can you do in 10 or 15 minutes? You know, one song apiece, solo, and then we did a couple of songs as duet. And I remember Doyle Wilburn pulling his brother Teddy Wilburn, you know, of the famous Wilburn brothers, pulling Teddy Wilburn out of his dressing room and said, "You got to come out here. You got to hear this girl." And it was me that he drugged Teddy out of his dressing room to listen to.
Later, Patty toured with the Wilburn Brothers. By the age of 14, Patty had already written around 30 songs. Even though she was barely in her teens, Patty had a keen insight into feelings and emotion, and the songs were deeply rooted, some dealing with a very touching sadness of being alone. Although she loved singing, Patty was shy, and her brother's confidence was the strength it would take to get them to Nashville. It was in Music City where they met a superstar who was kind and caring and who realized their talent. He was Porter Wagner, and he introduced them to their dreams.
I think it was around 1970, and I was 14 at the time, that my brother, you know, after hearing some of the songs I was writing, again, my brother was always involved. I think without him, I never would have stepped through anybody's door. These songs probably would have never been heard.
Well, when I first met Patty Loveless she was Patty Ramey then, and her and her brother came to Nashville. She was 14 years old, and he came to my office to talk with me about getting in the music business. And they were just such nice kids. They were two real country kids out of Kentucky. And Patty was just, she was wonderful, had such a winning smile, and there was a sense of genuine person about her that I really liked.
And I remember him coming out of his door, and we walked into his office, and he sit us down, and he talked to us, and was real nice. And Roger really introduced us because I couldn't really talk. I just, you know, I thought, what am I doing here? Roger talked me into this. But Porter got me to pick up his guitar, and I was always used to playing my own, and played him a song called Sounds of Loneliness that I had written.
It was just like real. It was like talking to someone that really genuine, wants to learn, and is honest with what they already know. And I think she realized then that she didn't know a lot about the music business, and she wondered if her song was any good. I told her it was, and it really was. It was called Sounds of Lonely, and I thought it was kind of an adult idea the song was about hear the sounds of loneliness and so forth. And that really impressed me with her.
For some reason, Porter heard something that day, and he tells me this very day that he knew it was there. It was just a matter of time. And he introduced us to Dolly that very same day. He says, look, why don't you all stay over the weekend? We're doing the Opry tomorrow night, and tonight we're taping the TV show. Why don't you all just stay? And he put us up in a hotel. It was actually a Holiday Inn, I can remember it, here in Nashville over on West End. And he says, stay for a couple of days. We had come into Nashville with one of my sisters, and she had to leave. So Porter had even bought our bus tickets back to Louisville, Kentucky after the weekend was over. He treated us so nice. He treated us like family, and he just took an interest all of a sudden in what I was doing. And it seemed like a lot of things happened after that. Things continued on. When Porter took me and Roger to the Opry that night, it was at the old Ryman, and when I saw it, it was bigger than life to me. I just thought, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And to see Porter and Dolly go out on stage and to see the cameras, it was like blinded you. I couldn't believe how the people's response, and when they responded to Porter and Dolly, or the Wilburn Brothers, or Loretta Lynn, it's just to hear that roar from the people and to see those flashes. And of course, Dolly and Porter, they were known to wear maybe some of the most flashiest outfits of all, and little Jimmy Dickens, and their outfits, or the suits that they wore, reflected even that much more. And to me as a child, they were the biggest stars in the world. And these people moved people with their voices, their personalities, and they were just down-to-earth people that sung for a living. And I just always looked up to them always, and I still to this day.
I think she's doing what she was meant to do, to be a singer and entertainer. And man, she has thought of this a long time. When you start out when you're about 12 years old, fantasizing you're on the stage and that you're on the Grand Ole Opry and you're making records and you're a star and you're signing autographs for people, when you fantasize it that early in your life, and she was already doing that when I met her at 14, then it means a great deal to you. And I think that's one of the reasons she's happy and content and has that, I'm sure, that feeling that she takes pride in what she does, and to see it all develop and really become a superstar in the business, wonderful accomplishment.